Hey, what's up guys, Tony here, and what you're watching is some Crysis 3 gameplay. This is the open beta, of course, and as you're watching this game should be available, the beta that is, should be available for all platforms throughout the world. Because I know today, or I guess yesterday when I got on, it was later in the evening, and so I noticed in the PlayStation Store it was available, so I was like, cool, yeah, I'm gonna do that, because I saw a tweet earlier from Crysis that was saying that the open beta was available on PC and Xbox earlier yesterday, and so I was kind of bummed out. You know, it's like Xbox and PC, they always usually get things, it seems like, before PlayStation 3. I mean, which is really strange because of the fact that EA usually is pretty good about giving stuff to PlayStation before the Xbox. But I mean, I'm of the mindset that all platforms should get it at the same time. The entire world should get it at the same time. I don't like it when they break it up, you know, in these 2 different days and release dates and crap. So I think it's more of a hassle to do it that way. I figured it would be. You know, I'm just like an everyday guy. But to kind of touch back on the gameplay, I am playing with Chris and Snoop from Shoosty Bang, of course. And it has been a long time since we sat down and just gamed together. We played for, I don't know, about an hour and 20 minutes today before, you know, the connections got the better of us. And I think all of us, minus Chris. Chris was having some frame rate issues, he was saying. But I know Snoop and I have pretty positive outlooks on this game. Now, if you guys remember, if you guys have been subscribed long enough, or if you go back and search my videos, I'd posted, I don't know, a handful of Crysis 2 gameplays. And for me, the thing is I just couldn't get my head wrapped around the multiplayer. Now, the game itself, like, it looks awesome. I mean, it looks like Crysis 2, which was a fantastic, the CryEngine 2, I think it was at the time. Fantastic. It just looked great. And I knew from my multiplayer experience, I didn't play it that much. I just didn't find it enjoyable. I just couldn't manage the power systems, the stealth, and the armor ability. And it was a lot to handle, and the connections were really spotty for me, and I just didn't have fun playing the multiplayer. And I didn't have a lot of people who would play with me. It was just like 1 or 2 people, and then otherwise I was playing solo. And like I've said countless times before, I don't really like playing solo. I don't jump on multiplayer or you know, video games just to play solo. I like to play with people, especially shooters. That's the fun of it for me. Anyway, so I gave up on the Crysis 2 multiplayer. I just, you know, I don't know how many levels I got up to, but I was just, you know, it's not for me. But I played the shit out of the campaign. I loved the campaign. The campaign is one of the better campaigns I've ever played. I mean, it ranks up there with like Medal of Honor Tier 1. You know, the Crysis 2 is a really good campaign. And it brought something so new to the first-person shooter genre for me. You know, just having this crazy suit that you do this crazy stuff with. You know, and I felt like the Predator. That's actually kind of how I felt. Like the Predator, when you cloak, you have that same sort of like Predator sound. I said this like whenever, you know, Crysis 2 came out like 2 years ago. And anyways, it's just, for me, it's a lot of fun. But here's what I've noticed is that during this night that we were playing, I think my skills have definitely increased as a player. And I was playing this game as I would play Battlefield. And I think that's where I went wrong with Crysis 2, is because I wasn't a Battlefield player. I was a Black Ops. I was a Call of Duty player. And I tried to play Crysis 2 as if I was a Call of Duty player. So basically, run straight at them, first on target, should be the first one killed. And when suddenly I wasn't finding that to be the case, I grew tired of it. So now here I am, you know, learning to, you know, I know how to flank better. I mean, in Call of Duty you can flank, but there are only certain avenues. You know, just there's a difference, a maturity in my gameplay that I've noticed while playing tonight that I didn't have before, and I think it's because of playing Battlefield. And I don't mean that in a way to take away from Call of Duty players, because they definitely have a skill set that I now lack as far as like Twitch shooting, you know, instant and great reaction times. They still have that, but anyways. So that's why I gave up on Crysis 2 multiplayer, and so I'm already looking forward to Crysis 3 single player. The campaign is what I'm really looking for. That's why I'm going to buy the game. But playing this, it's got me intrigued, especially if I can get a lot more people to play this game, or I should say there's going to be more people to play this game with than Crysis 2, because it's not fun playing by yourself, you know. And the one thing is I guess to touch on the beta, you know, let me give you my impressions of the beta. The game plays exactly like Crysis 2. You know, the controls, everything is the same. You know, I switched to control setup so it would be something similar to, say, Battlefield, where, you know, crouch is R3 instead of the knife, the knifing animation. So knifing animation is circle, so it's like a tactical setup for Call of Duty. The environment, the sounds, the guns, it's all pretty much the same. I remember when, this is actually kind of funny, because I remember when Modern Warfare 3 came out, everybody was just like, oh my god, it's just an expansion pack, it's Modern Warfare 2.5, why are you going to spend $60 on it? I have yet to hear that about Crysis. I've yet to hear it about Crysis. And it's essentially the same game, like all the same guns are in the game from what I've noticed. You know, you've got the Scar here, there's the Feline, which you unlock at level 7, which was like everybody's go-to gun, the silenced Feline, rapid firing, low impact submachine gun that everybody loved to run. That was like the only gun that I saw people playing Crysis 2 with. And I came across some, you can clearly tell they're the Crysis 2 players, because that's what they were running, you know, and they were actually really good players too. So I don't want to take that, I don't want to take anything away from them, but they were really good. So anyways, basically the way I see it, it's not an expansion pack. I don't want to call it that, because it's not an entirely new game, but from what I can tell so far, they're not really doing anything different. I'd have to go back and play Crysis 2 again to really get my head wrapped around what's different. But it plays, for me, like I said, it's flawless. You know, the controls are smooth. There's a good sense of adjustments in the controls, a sensible sort of adjustment scheme where you can get that same sensitivity that you can feel throughout different games and have a consistency in your controls, in your sensitivities, which is always nice. The one thing, right, you can see right there was host migration. It's not on dedicated servers, which would be awesome. I was kind of hoping with like Battlefield 3 and with you know, like Bad Company 2 and some of these Battlefield DICE games, I was really hoping that EA would go ahead and spend the money again on dedicated servers. I know a lot of people look at that and like, yeah, I don't know about that, Tony, because of the simple fact that if they rent them out, then all of a sudden you've got shitty admins again, and nobody really wants to deal with shitty admins. So the peer-to-peer is what we have in this, and sometimes it shines, sometimes not. I was playing on a 2-bar most of the time, and when it was really laggy for me, it was really laggy. I mean, it was just almost unplayable. But this gameplay, as you're going to see, this was a 2-bar. I did this on a 2-bar. So there's a level of inconsistency with the connection, which is really weird. I don't understand why it happens, but I mean, hey, that's sort of, say la vie, that is the computer world for you. So there are things, like I said, that are very familiar. Actually, most of the aspects of Crysis 3 here are already very familiar. But the game mode, this is Crash Site, if I haven't said it already, but the game mode that I'm really looking forward to is the Hunter mode. You know, I watched Luton's video on it when he went to EA up in London, and I'm really interested in that because it has opportunity, a great opportunity for very entertaining gameplay. And I don't mean like for video making, I just mean for a very entertaining group dynamic, for you can get together with your friends and have a lot of fun playing this hunter mode. And if you don't know what it is, basically the way it starts out is there's one guy who's the hunter and everyone else are cell operatives. And so as the rounds go by, I think there's like 5 rounds, but as the rounds tick by, and they're like 2-minute rounds apiece, the hunter has to go around killing the cell guys. And every time a cell guy is killed by a hunter, he becomes a hunter. So you start out with 1 hunter, and then suddenly there's 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, so on and so forth, until there's 1 cell guy remaining. And so that guy has got to survive throughout all 5 rounds. So I think that's really cool. It's an interesting thing, and it reminds me of that the PC game, The Hidden. You know, it reminds me of that, and I can see that there could be a lot of fun in game modes like that, especially if you get into like a private server or a private lobby with your friends, and you just have a great time. You know, you just, that's what it's all about, fun and excitement. It's, at least for me. I mean, some people are all about competition. They want to be competitive. They want to be the best. For me, it's all about fun. You know, when I'm having fun, I have a good time. You know, I don't really necessarily need to get competitive with it, but I mean, I will, because I'm a competitive person. So, anyways, guys, what I go 22-1, not too bad. And then, oh yeah, they show you this cool like highlight reel at the end. So, anyways, it's on the PlayStation Store now. It's free. If you're a Crysis guy, you're gonna love it. If not, if you want something new to try out, I'd give it a whirl. I mean, it's fun. And it's free, and that way, you know, I mean, you can determine whether or not you want to buy Crysis, you know, when it comes out on February 19th. So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll talk to you guys later.